we still use relational for the things that make sense.
So it was additive to what you...
It was additive to what we had, but it was also showing the mosaic of the different needs within the architecture that we required. Again, the hardest part was saying, why don't we build that, and trying to keep the teams that built it. We had built an internal, essentially, name value pair document-based solution that served tens of billions of records for a government solution. And that actually happened in 2010, 2011. So we were already tooling with that inside the house, trying to convincing our sponsorship that this was the right solution wasn't hard, because the trend within the company is away from homegrown solutions, customized solutions we prefer to use, off-the-shelf and supported solutions.
So one of the questions I always get from my clients is skills. How did you grow or develop those skills for Mongo internally?
So our resource model is, and still is, you need a set of competent contractors in space, and then usually they come in to train, you build in-house representation over time. So I started with essentially 2 niche vendors in the Atlanta market, and then several of which already had Mongo experience, and then they were able to bring that in. In fact, that's another problem we kind of have with Mongo now, is there's a lot of things like Atlas and others that are coming out that are great. We had to build scripting and essentially operational tools before they were available. And now that we've got kind of a migration to some of the newer tools as they come out. But that's just a thing of being an early adopter. You're sure you suffer some of those edges and duplicate that. But we're now in the transition. There's a 5-year effort. We're in year 4, so we're in the transition to essentially employee resources. We also have employees around the world at Quebec. We have a development center in Santiago, Chile, and we have one in Dublin as well. So I'm able to find resources in those regions that also have Mongo experience.
Are you deploying your Mongo instances on-prem or in the cloud?
Definitely on-prem. None of us want to be the steward of the Equifax breach, where people's consumer credit files get out into the wild.
Yeah, no one wants that on a resume.
Yeah, so invariably, and there is encryption. There are other ways to essentially solve that problem, but we've opted for it. We actually are hybrid cloud. We use Amazon to do everything from brochureware and a lot of our front end applications, but anything that actually retains Equifax data is all on-prem.
How many use cases is Mongo in use today?
Today, essentially 3 major ones. Essentially, within the consumer services, one for both our direct market and one for our indirect market. We resell credit files. It's no secret. If you go to Karma, or if you go to Credit Karma, or go to Crizzle, or to LifeLock, you'll be using Equifax.
You're the data provider for that.
We're the data provider.
So if I go online and check my credit, am I hitting ultimately something that is backed by MongoDB?
If it has yes, absolutely. If you go today especially to LifeLock, and it says, this is your credit file served by Equifax, it's being served out of the Mongo database.
Interesting. Are there any, you mentioned security, cloud breach, things like that. Are you planning on looking at the encrypted storage engine? Are you using WiredTiger? What are some? You mentioned Atlas as well. What's your future direction look like?
So we are using WiredTiger, and definitely with performance improvements, we're using compression. Encryption, we have a story where we have to do field level encryption of all PII, all personal identifying information, name, social, things that are sensitive. We don't have the requirement to do wholesale encryption because we've already done the field level encryption. We've looked at it, though. We actually, in other solutions, if you're looking where we do relational, we use wholesale encryption products because we didn't do field level encryption on the older ones. But our future, definitely, we're going to take another look at. It's not Scout anymore. It's the new
Compass,
and because it's got a lot of new features and things that we've been wanting. From an operational point of view, we'll still continue to use our scripting because we do have a continuous deployment as best as given the sensitivity of our data. And so a lot of the operations, we've built another operations framework that spans not just Mongo, but other